Alright bossos, it is time we talk about the Milk final verdict. What she's on the tier list, how to properly build her, how to actually manually play her if you're interested in that, and a little bit of everything in between. As usual, before we start, hello the internet, welcome back to Waifus. I'm Sefhi, your favorite gambling addict. Today's topic, the new best bunny girl. Probably my favorite will be Blank, and then Milk. Right? She looks fantastic. I really like her. Finally, a milk that's good. I've always been tilted with normal milk, and treasure milk is literally I wanted to punch someone, right? So this is really good. Let's talk a little bit about what is on the tier list first, why she's lower than what you might expect, and then we'll go into how to build her skills, cube, her shenanigans on auto or manual, etc. Right? So, first of all, her tier list. I know for some people might be too low. She is a T2 character right here. Now, why T2 instead of a T1? Sefhi, if she's doing more damage than Red Hood? Multiple things. First of all, I prefer to aim low and correct than aim too high and mislead. First thing. For example, when K was released, right? I think we put her too high for the DPS, and then we had to lower her rating. Not only for K, but for like multiple characters in that regard, that are kind of like DPSs, say for the Rapa's Treasure, things like that. So I prefer to aim low and correct than aim too high and then mislead. The biggest thing as well as to why she's a T2, which by the way, it's a good unit. Also, all of these characters here are great characters, right? It's that she needs to be manual. She's a character that if you are not manualing, is gonna be losing between 15 to 25%, maybe more if you suck at manualing snipers, at spamming shots. So that already is a huge downside to this character, right? You have to manual her. And we're talking about like, okay, if you're manualing Milk, it means you cannot be including Alice because you're not manualing Alice. Cannot put Red Hood because you're not manualing Red Hood. You cannot put any of these other snipers you put manual and get really good damage out of. So that's why she's gonna be a T2 for now. Her damage is fantastic, but she is dependent on you properly manualing her. I also think it's a similar situation to Breedy, where it's really good damage, right, if you guys remember, but she needs specific conditions. In the case of Breedy, it's just a team built around her. Now, that said, T2 character, fantastic character. Based on the next solo raid, if we see her outside of her element, if we see her used everywhere else, I will be bumping her to T1 if necessary, but for now, she stays there. That said, let's talk a little bit about everything else regarding Milk, which is gonna be how to properly build her. The first thing I want to talk is about skills. Skills, we said this last time, but she is an expensive girl, okay? This is a really expensive character, because the minimum on all the skills is 7, and you probably want to go 10 on all of them. If you wanted to save resources, you could be going for a 7, 7, 10, just because this is a huge increase in what you're getting. Maybe a 7, 10, 10, so you can also get extra damage on the skill 2 right here every time you are bursting. But still, you probably want to go long term 10, 10, 10. It's a really expensive character, sadly, because again, I'm running out of materials as well myself. When it comes to burst materials 1 and 2, is it time to buy the second monthly card? Hopefully not. We'll talk about how to properly manual her at the end, but that's related to the skills, of course, as well. The second thing is her build. There is two things here. She's expensive on the skills, but she's really cheap on the gear, and that's a really positive point in my opinion. You only care about elemental damage, and you only care about charge damage. Those are like your two main lines. Now, the third line, there is an incognito, not really an incognito, it depends how you are playing her, it's max ammo. To me, I don't want max ammo. I've already said this, but I'm trying to do a full charge shot every time that she has to reload. So to me, it's easier not having ammo or having only one line. Outside of that, just elemental and charge damage. You want to ignore attack because she gets so much attack on her own. She is getting 100 here, and then every time she's bursting, 190. So you don't really need to worry about attack. The return, in contrast to what you were getting, is just not worth it, right? You're gonna be getting like a 30%, like I did myself, 30% attack, and now she basically has what, permanent 130%, yeah, 130% here, and when she's bursting at 220%. But that's already too much attack to be like having an impact on her damage. In fact, another reason as to why she's a T2 character, by the way, is because I thought her damage on neutral was gonna be better considering how much attack she gets, but on neutral it's not that great. Like, it's not that amazing in contrast to the like most of the plug-and-play characters we have, like Mihara, like Raven, SBS, etc. Like, she's not that great on neutral. I'm not saying she's bad, I'm just saying in contrast to, like, those meta characters, she's not there. So that's for the skills, that's for the gear. Pretty simple character to build. As filler lines, you would be getting, let's say, your usual crit lines, maybe charge speed. Charge speed is not important because her skill 1 is fixed reload. It does not matter what you're doing. So I will say charge speed is not a necessary line, right? Not mandatory to get 4 charge speed. So it's not gonna change anything. Outside of that, we can talk about the cube as well. Since you're only going for elemental, and since you're only going for charge damage, you wanna go resilience. But if you're actually going for more max ammo and you are counting the seconds so you can reapply the pierce buff yourself, you could be going with Bastion if you get enough. You could be going with Adjutant since it's the charge speed, or you could be going as well with the Wingman since it's the max ammo Q. In my opinion, Adjutant and Wingman are cope. Bastion is not the bad one, but I feel resilience is the way to go just because it's easier to remember when you have to reapply the buff. Every time she has to reload, you apply the buff again, right? It's just easier to remember, and resilience helps with this because you're reloading faster. That's on how to build her. Let's go a little bit over the pros, the cons, and then how to, actually no, let's go first how to manually play her, and then pros and cons. So there is 2 things you have to manual, okay? It's on the website if you prefer to go and read it there, but there is 2 things you have to manual. First is this pierce buff right here, the full charge attack, a pierce buff for 6 seconds. And then, of course, this full charge hold for 0.5 seconds or more, which will apply all of these different buffs. Now, these can only be applied on 2 different ways. At the beginning of the battle, so when the battle starts, you want to apply this hold for 0.5 seconds of full charge to apply it, and then every time she bursts, after full burst end, you need to reapply this 0.5 second hold, right? So 2 situations where you have to apply this. What about the pierce damage? Well, since you actually need to maintain pierce 100% uptime in order to get your buffs, you want to be doing this every time you have to reload. So every time you have to reload, you do a full charge shot and she will be getting her pierce. If you don't have max ammo or only 1 line, even with 2 lines should be fine. Every time she has to reload is less than 6 seconds. So because you're gonna be spamming shots in between and only have to do your full charge when you reload. So that's the easiest way of doing it. If you're going for more lines of max ammo, so 2 to 4, then you have to be more careful and count yourself those 6 seconds, which in my opinion is a pain in the ass. The easiest way to handle this is you reload, full charge, spam shots. After full burst, you reapply your embarrassment buff and you're good to go. So she's kind of a pain in the ass to play. Not only it's because of the constant spamming shots, right? But also because you will have to be careful with the hold and with the full charge. And in my opinion, that already is reducing a lot where she's on the tier list. But yeah, that's how you properly manual her in order to bring out her damage. Again, if you manually her and you are really good at manualing snipers, she's doing already a lot more than Red Hood, which is really, really good damage, right? Now, what about pros and cons? There's a few pros. The first one, clearly, is Tetra is finally getting a good DPS for tower, but you cannot really use her. Like, if we talk Tetra and we talk B3s, it's Alice, Ludmilla, and now you have Milk, but you either manual Alice or you manual Milk. Now, you can put both on the same team and just make sure that she has her 0.5 second embarrassment buff, right? Like you hold charge, and then you switch to Alice and manual Alice. You can do that, it works, but again, it's wasting a lot of damage and you could just be putting something else like Sameranis, even maybe your Soda, depending how much investment you have. So Tetra gets a good DPS, but at the same time, you cannot really use her with the best Tetra DPS, which is Alice. The second thing, if properly played, she can outperform a lot of the current meta damage dealers on elemental advantage, I must say. When we're talking about neutral content, it's a little bit harder to outperform those characters, but for iron content, she can outperform almost everyone here, I will say, as long as you properly manual her. And then lastly, really cheap in terms of overload gear, since she only cares about elemental and charge damage, which is nice because, again, this fucking game is expensive, bro. It's hungry on resources, okay? I am always constant out of everything. Now let's move to the cons. There is a couple cons. The biggest one, and why she is lower on the tier list than what her damage capabilities are. You have to manual her. If you are not manualing her, she's not gonna perform as well. If you're not even willing to manual her, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think you need to pull for her. I think you can skip her completely, because there is almost no reasons as to where you would use her on full auto. There is Iron Wing Raids, Tetra Tower, and that's it for now. We don't know how she's gonna be performing or if she's gonna be used on neutral raids, right? So if you are not willing to manual her on those situations, you can skip her. I think the winner for this event was 8. And the funny thing is that you have to manual both of them, by the way, because you need to make sure 8 is getting her minimum effective range buffs. Shifter was like, let's make 2 characters that you both need to manual, so you can't play them together, even though, you know, they're from the same event. Fucking Shifter. And then the last con, of course, is going to be that's just an expensive girl, okay? She's an expensive girl. She's hungry for skill books. She's cheap on the gear, but she's expensive when it comes to the skills, because you need to go at least level 7 on everything, but you want to be going further. So all in all, it's like a 50-50. There is some parts where you can save resources on her, but others where you need to be going all in. But that's why she's a T2 character at the moment. I think she's a fantastic DPS, and if you're looking for Tetra Tower and you want to push Tetra Tower, she's gonna help a lot. For Iron Week content, we'll see her everywhere. She's gonna be a staple. I'm not so sure about the neutral content itself. After the next raid, we will see if it's worth bumping her to T1 here with the Red Hood and the other girls or not. That's it. That's gonna be it for my Milk final verdict. When it comes to team compositions and where to put her and all of those things, she can fit anywhere. Okay, clearly, just like Red Hood, just like Alice, she will benefit from teams that are based around Pierce, be it your Grave. You cannot put her with Bunny 8. I mean, you can, but you have to manual both of them, or you need to make sure at least 8 is properly getting her buffs. So it's a little bit weird, right? It's a little bit weird. But she can fit onto any team. She does not need anything specific. Sefhi, you never talk about dupes. All of the characters in this game are the same. You're a tryhard, you'll pull for MLB at least. You don't care, you can get 1 copy and you're good to go. Shift Up is always making characters that depend on dupes, be it for caster's attack, for the final max attack, whatever it is, right? They will always try to make sure over the last 6-7 months to include skills that depend on those dupes. Again, it's not necessary, and if you don't care, it's completely fine. Thankfully, Nike, it's a 2% increase on stats per dupe, which is not as huge as other games like Lost Sword and things like that. But enough jumping, alright? We are live every single day. That's gonna be everything for the Milk final verdict video. I would recommend grabbing a copy unless you are not a tryhard and not willing to manual her, then you're gonna skip. But look how cute she is, you're gonna be skipping this trip. Enough ranting. Love you all bastards. Live every single day. Links down below. Good luck with your pool dinner, and I'll see you on the next one.